Stampers, it's Nancy Novak from StampandShout.com. Welcome to my video tutorial. This week I have been making cards with the Peaceful Deer stamp set, which comes with a coordinating punch. I always like cards or stamp sets that come with a punch because it just makes it that much faster and easier to make cards. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what we're making. Actually, I'm not going to show you what we're making. We're going to talk about it. Usually I have a card to show you, but we're going to make this one together. So we're just going to kind of wing it this afternoon. So let me turn the camera around. So Peaceful Deer. So all week I have been posting, and I will continue to post pictures of the cards that I've been making using the Peaceful Deer stamp set, and this is the stamp set, and it does come with a coordinating punch. It's called the Deer Builder Punch, I believe, because you can, it's got a little nose, it's got the deer, and it's got the antlers. So let me talk a little bit about what I'm doing. So all week, again, making cards with the Peaceful Deer. I've already posted a couple cards that I made. We're going to make one together today. Tomorrow's Thursday, so my newsletter comes out, so I'm going to have another Peaceful Deer featured in my newsletter with a free how-to tutorial with the instructions for free. Friday, I will have a very fast card made with the Peaceful Deer stamps, and then later on Friday, I'm going to have a follow-up card, which is just a little bit more fancy. Same card, but just fancier. So that's on Friday. And then Saturday, I'm going to come back here on YouTube, and we're going to talk about the cards again. I'm going to go into more detail about using these stamps and the punch, give you little tips and some secrets. So if you are not a subscriber to my YouTube channel, please hit subscribe and the little notification bell. That way, whenever I go live or I post a new video, doesn't have to be live, you'll get a little notification. And if you don't catch me live, you can always go back and watch the rerun. So just want to get all that information out there. Again, my blog is at StampinShout.com, so you can find a lot of information there. Let me show you a couple of the cards that I've already posted. So this was one that I made using the stamp, but see, I didn't use the deer stamp, I used the tree stamp. I used the contour scallop dies, not associated with the Peaceful Deer stamps, but it's a die set that you can use for any of your cards, so it's very versatile and I love it. What I wanted to show you on here, why I made this card, was this features the Peaceful Prints Designer Series paper. And this, it comes in 12 by 12, and there's 12 sheets, and it's all double-sided. And this is a free item that's in the Celebration catalog. And if you don't know, Celebration is you buy something for $50 from Stampin' Up. Anything you want, you get to choose something free out of the Celebration catalog. So that paper is a free item. So if you're going to be shopping and buying something, you might as well get something free, and that Celebration is going on till the end of September. So that's using some of that pretty paper. And today's card, we're going to use a lot of that Designer Series paper, so stick around. Here's another card that I posted. And this is a non-holiday card. So I thought this would be a great masculine card, birthday card, or whatever. You could even make it as a thank you card or something. If you didn't put let's celebrate, you could just put hello, and inside you could put thank you. But I wanted to make a non-holiday card using those stamps. I was inspired by the deer that are in our little park that we have next to our house. There are so many deer there right now, and the little fawns are coming out. So that's what made me think that, you know, the deer stamps are not just for the holidays. Okay, on to today's card. So we're going to make a fancy fold card, and we're going to use a lot of the Designer Series paper, the Peaceful Prints Designer Series paper. So I have a piece of white cardstock, and it is 12 inches by 5.5 inches, and I'll show you how I scored this in just a minute. Then I have a white strip, and that's 11 inches by 1.5 inches, and then I have a piece of Designer Series paper that's 1.25 inches by 11 inches. Then I have many strips of Designer Series paper, and I have a piece of cardstock that's going to be my matte piece, and let's see, this is 2.5 by 5.25. And my designer strips, I have I have two designer strips that are 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. Just looking at this sizes. Then I have 2 that are 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Then I have 1 that is 2 inches by 5 1/4. Then I have a stamping piece that's 5 inches by 2 1/4. So if I made a mistake, or if you didn't hear what I just said, I'm going to post all of this on my blog tomorrow, stampandshout.com, so you can go back and get the sizes and the names of the paper and the colors of the ink and all that good stuff. So also have a circle that I cut out using the circle dies. So there's scallop circles and straight edge circles, and let's see, this circle is about 2 3/4. And then I also am going to use, this is called Wonderful Snowflakes, and you get 24 in a pack. And I've been using this on a couple of my cards. You haven't seen them yet. They're coming out, I think, in my newsletter tomorrow, but we're going to use this today. Then I have a scrap to stamp a deer, and I think that's all the supplies. So let me just clear a spot here, and I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, and I'm going to show you how I scored this. So again, this is 12 inches by 5 1/2, and you score it at 4 1/4, 7 1/4, and 10 1/4. Let me bring this down a little bit so you can see that better. Okay, so 4 1/4, 7 1/4, and 10 1/4. Then we're going to fold it. So the 4 1/4 is right here. I'm going to flip this piece of paper around because this is going to be the inside of my card when I'm done, and it's just easier to explain how to fan fold this. So I'm starting from the right, and I'm going to go ahead and, just looking for my bone folder, we're going to fold that one like that, okay? And then I'm going to fold this one this way, and I'm going to fold this one this way. So let's see how the easiest way to explain it. I guess the end pieces go in, fold them in and score them, and then this piece goes the opposite way. So that's how you fold it, this way. But when you're done, it's going to fold up like this, and it's going to fit in a regular envelope. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in those strips. And I think the hardest thing about this card is trying to decide what paper you're going to use, because it's all so pretty, and which way do you want to lay it. And I think I want this one there, and this one I think I have to cut. I think I cut that one too wide. This one I'm going to have go on the inside. We're going to put this all together. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This I'm going to use the opposite side over here. This is going to go here, and then this is going to go here. So I just need to cut this down because I did cut this a little bit too wide. So I cut it to 1 3/4, and it should be, whoops, 1 1/2. Just want to make sure that that is 1 1/2. Yep. So let me cut this really, really quick. Just got to cut 1/4 inch. And I'm actually going to save this because I like to put that on the inside of my cards when I put my sentiment. Okay, so let's start gluing. So on the front, I'm going to put this one. Like I said, it's just, you just have to get your strips of paper. You have 2 that are 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, 2 that are 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, and the last one is 2 by 5 1/4. So that's all the designer series paper that you're going to use. Okay, then the opposite side with these little deer, I'm going to put right here. Okay, so again, I want you to visit me if you can, and for my spotlight on stamping, because I do that at the end of the week, and I talk about, I give you little hints. For example, on this paper right here, there's a certain way that you can punch out. Let me show you the big piece. There's certain deer on here that you can punch out. Well, you can punch them all out, but the easiest ones are the ones that face the way the deer punch goes. So I actually thought about, before I cut this out, because I wanted to cut I wanted not to use the deer that fits in the punch the easiest, so I just kind of figured it all out. But that's some of the stuff that I talk about on my spotlight on stamping, and I'm going to do that on Saturday, usually around 11 o'clock. Okay, so next I'm putting this one. Lay that one down right in the center of this part. And I'm also looking at the one that's next to it, so they all kind of line up. Okay, then on the inside here, I don't want to use that again. I'm going to use the opposite side. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this side and glue that piece down. That one's going to go right here in the center. Okay, now this is the inside of the card, the very last piece. So I'm going to take this strip, which is the 2" by 5 1/4, and I'm going to lay that one down first. And I'm going to lay it on the right side, but I'm going to make sure I have a little bit of a border. And you can close your card up so you can kind of line it from top to bottom, because you want all these pieces going across to kind of line up. Okay, now this one, I'm going to go ahead and lay the matte piece down. And I'm going to not put it right up to the score line. Going to give it that little border. And it can cover this piece. Okay, now this piece is going to go right here, but before I glue that in, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to put my sentiment. I'm going to use Merry Christmas. These are all stamps that are in the Peaceful Deer stamp set. So it's got Merry Christmas, Let's Celebrate, Wishing you a wonderful year, and Friendships Dear, Sending love and peace this season. It's the best time of the year, and From all of us. That From all of us is a very versatile stamp, because of course you can use that for lots of occasions. Okay, so I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas. So that leaves you lots of room to go ahead and sign your names or write any little notes. I'm also going to bring in crumb cake, and I'm going to use the little snowflake stamp set. I'm just going to add a few snowflakes, maybe just right there. That was juicy. That's all I'm going to add. You know what? I'm actually going to flip that over, because that stamp set was really, really juicy. And those stamps came out heavy. Those little snowflakes came out heavier than I want. Okay. Not much different. Let me look. Yep, it's a little bit better. So I'm going to use that side. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my Merry Christmas one more time. Can't see. Yes, I like that. Okay. Put my stamp pads away. So, gonna glue on this side. I actually like using the crumb cake for stars and such like that if I'm not embossing in gold, because it kind of looks goldy when you put it on your card. That's why I use the crumb cake. Okay, so let's peek. We're not done with this. We have a lot more to do, but see all that pretty designer series paper? Isn't that a great way to use it? It really shows off. You can have usually have a lot of little pieces left over. So you open it up and you got your little deer there, and then your sentiment can go right there. But we need to do a little bit more. We're going to put a belly band on this. So that's where these strips come in. And I said this is 11 inches. I only cut it 11 inches because that's a standard sheet of paper. You could make it shorter if you want, but I didn't do that. So have to decide which piece I want showing for my belly band. And although that is very, very pretty, I think I'm going to use this side just because they're all different. I want to make just keep it all different. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this to that white strip. For my belly band. So okay, then I'm just going to kind of put this on so it's centered, and I'm just going to lightly fold back on each side so it's not too tight. And that's going to be my belly band to hold this closed. If you didn't have a belly band, your card would be flopping open all the time. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in some tear and tape to hold my belly band closed. So I'm going to put some tear and tape right there. And I'm going to put some tear and tape right there. And then I'll close up this belly band. Once I get this tape off, there we go. So if you're watching me live, go ahead and say hi. Where are you from? What are you doing today? It's a really hot day here in Michigan, so it's a great day to be in my craft room. I'm going to close this all up. It sticks together great like that. And then that's just going to slide over. But I'm going to have that go on the back. I don't want that showing. And now we're going to decorate this. Let me put my belly band back on. Okay. So I'm going to bring in that circle, and I'm going to bring in a dimensional, and these dimensionals fit perfect on the back of these pretty little snowflakes. And I'm going to pop that up right in the middle of that circle, like that. So it shows that snowflake off really well. Then I'm going to bring in a scrap, and I'm going to bring in my deer stamp. And I think I'm going to stamp my deer in cinnamon cider. They look really pretty stamped in cinnamon cider. And this stamp has a little sentiment on it, so it's going to show it off really well. So I'm going to stamp and I'm going to punch it out. So I want to kind of look at my paper and my punch and look how it's going to fit in there before I stamp. So I don't want to stamp my deer way up here, because then my punch isn't going to fit. So I am going to stamp my deer right here at the bottom. Perfecto. Pretty, pretty. And again, if you come to my Spotlight on Stamping video on Saturday, I'm going to talk about using all these tools and stamping and give you little hints. Okay, so see, even though I tried to stamp it near the bottom, I could have gone shorter, which is fine. I'm just going to trim this a little bit more so I can fit my punch on here. And then I'm going to line my deer up. Looking at his ears and his tail and his hoofs to make sure everything's in there nice. Give it a little punch. And there is my little deer, and it says, "Oh, what fun." Isn't that sweet? Love it. Okay, so my deer is going to go on here. I want to get one more thing before I forget. I want to get my little red rhinestones, because I'm going to give him a little red nose when we're done. Okay, so now I need to attach my deer, and I'm just thinking how I want to do that. I think I'm going to glue him down, because I think that'll hold more of that snowflake down so it doesn't really pop up. So I'm putting some glue on this deer, and I put more on than I needed. So I like to bring in my little silicone mat and just get some of that extra glue off. Kind of spreads it around a little bit for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my deer on. I'm going to kind of angle him so he's flying. And just let that glue set for a second. You could also pop your deer up with another few dimensionals. But we are going to pop the whole circle up with dimensionals. So I'm going to kind of look at how I want my deer positioned. You know, I don't know if I want them like that or do I want them like that. And I'm going to put a dimensional on the back. And those dimensionals, I only want them on the belly band. And I want to put that right in the center. And can't forget our little red nose. So these are, they're called Red Rhinestone Basic Jewels. Oh, that's so cute. That just made the card. Isn't that cute? So let's take it off again and show it to you. Ta-da! And then this little thing just slides back on. So again, if you're watching me on replay, don't forget to leave your comments and questions. I'm going to have some information on this card on my blog, so it's www.stampandshout.com. Let me flip this camera back for a second. So I also wanted to make sure that you noticed that if you shop with me and for a $35 order between now and Saturday, I do this every week, and if you use my current host code, I am putting the entries in for a free stamp set. Plus, I will send you 3 make and takes. So you saw a couple of my cards, and then I have a few more. So I pick 3 make and takes. I cut up all the pieces for the cards, and I send them to you with the envelope. So you will have 3 Peaceful Deer cards that you can make. And then I send you also a sheet of this bedazzling paper. So it's a 6x6, really pretty dazzling paper. So I just want to make sure you saw that, and you can visit me on my blog, www.stampandshout.com, and please leave your comments, subscribe, don't forget to subscribe, and share my videos with your friends. And I will see you on Saturday for Spotlight on Stamping, and I will have more cards on my blog all week. So thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate it. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.